My name is Jesse. I've been at the British Council for about 9 years now, and yeah, let's get into it. We had a little problem with the technology, so hopefully we become more technologically intelligent. But yeah. So today we're going to look at artificial intelligence and English language teaching, preparing for the future. Basically, the British Council did a study over the last 10 years, and we'll have a look at the findings, the results of the study. We'll have a look at the opportunities, the challenges, the limitations, thinking about AI in the future, and look at some classroom applications. I hope that after today you get some ideas about how to use AI to help you, to bring you closer to your students, to continue inspiring your students, and of course to reduce your workload. That's primarily what it's there for. So yeah, let's have a look. And so first thing is about the report. So as Edgar said, AI has taken the world by storm over the last few years, and basically we wanted to find out more about it. Now, there are many different definitions of AI, and first off, we wanted to have a look at two key questions. The first is, how is AI being used in English language teaching and English language learning? And secondly, what are the opportunities, issues, and challenges it presents? There are some questions like, what impact will AI have on us as teachers? Will it replace us one day? Hopefully not, but we'll have a little poll to get your ideas, and you'll get to see the ideas from teachers all around the world and what they think as well. So first, we have a little video from one of the lead researchers, Dr. Helen Crompton. She is very famous and is among the top scientists in the world focusing on AI. Here's a little message from Dr. Helen Crompton.
Hello, my name is Dr. Helen Crompton. I'm a professor of instructional technology at Old Dominion University, and I'm also the executive director of the Research Institute for Digital Innovation in Learning at ODU Global, Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. Across the years, I've conducted 18 deep dive systematic reviews looking at the research literature on specific education and technology topics. Since 2017, I've focused on artificial intelligence. What's been very interesting in those studies is we've found out of all educational fields, language learning came out as the most researched area. So I was thrilled to work with the British Council to look very specifically on artificial intelligence and English language teaching and learning, looking at the affordances, the benefits, as well as the challenges. Our research had many great, interesting findings from many ways AI is being used to support those language skills, as well as challenges, things to be considerate of, such as the way AI in some places is being used to standardize language. All our findings are being published in the British Journal of Education Technology. It's an open access publication, so everyone can access it free, and I hope you're able to examine our findings soon.
Okay, so a very special thank you to Dr. Helen Crompton. And just to sum up, there are lots of benefits, but also implications. And one that she mentioned is about the standardization of language. We'll have a look at this in a few minutes. So, about the report, we wanted to look at 3 different areas. So first, we'll have a look at what the literature says. Then we'll have a look at teachers from around the world and yourselves. And finally, what key witnesses said. people who are involved in education, but maybe not direct contact with their students. Teacher trainers, principals, representatives from ministries of education, and you'll get an idea, a holistic idea of the opinions of AI. So first, we have to agree on the use of the term AI. When we talk about AI in this presentation, we're generally referring to two areas. The first is what is known as LLMs, or large language models, basically where AI can retrieve a lot of data very quickly based on the input. And secondly, we'll have a look at image and sound generators. So basically input with text, but then the AI gives back audio or video or maybe images. So there are three different sections. The first is learner-facing, and when we talk about learner-facing AI, this is the way that students use it. Teacher-facing, the way that teachers use it. And finally, system-facing. This might be used by administrators or organizers to analyze data and look at whole systems. So first, we want to get your ideas. This is the time when we take out our cell phones. Yeah, does everybody? My teenagers love when I say take out your cell phones. I hope you're the same. Can you scan this link for the Mentimeter, and we can take polls right now. If you can't, it's not a problem. We can do a quick hand raise. We're going to look at two main questions just to get your idea of what you think is happening at the moment. We're going to ask about where is the most research on AI being done, and which language skills is AI being used for. Nice. Oh, very good. People are already in. Nice. So what do you believe? What do you think? It's okay if you're not sure or you don't know. Where do you think the most research on AI in ELT being done? All right, Europe, a few in Asia, a few in North America. These are just your ideas. Okay, good. Maybe just let's wait 10 more seconds. Do you know if the people online are participating, Sissy? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so most people think it's in Europe and North America. And next, we're going to have a look at the question, which language skills is AI being used to support? Speaking, writing, and listening, speaking, writing, and reading, only reading and listening, or only speaking and writing? What do you think? And then we'll have a look at the answers. So lots of people going for speaking. I'll give you a little clue. It's one of the ones with speaking. Yeah, you see, there's 3 there. Yeah, if you want to talk to the person next to you and see what they think, that's fine. Not a problem at all. It's meant to be a little interactive. You could copy from your partner, it's cool. Okay, so definitely one with speaking, but we're going to have a look. Most people say speaking, writing, and listening. Unfortunately, speaking, writing, and reading. Let's have a look at the results. So the first one, most people thought it was in Europe and North America. Actually, it's in Asia. We're going to see, we're going to see soon where exactly. Very few in Africa. And finally, which language skills is AI being used to support? Speaking, writing, and reading. Actually, we didn't find any studies where AI was used to support listening. Maybe conversational skills, which do include some listening, but in reality, the focus was not on developing listening skills. So we're going to continue with the presentation, but we'll come back to the Mentimeter, so don't worry. Leave the application running on your phones. Let's have a look at the findings in more detail. So actually, you can see this map of the world where most of the studies are being done in Asia. Just one in Africa, in Morocco, 3 in North America, almost none in South America yet. Maybe some of you can start, be the first to do the studies in AI. And you can see here, China is leading with the studies on AI. They want to make sure you have good TikTok use, all the algorithms give you what you like. And then Taiwan and Japan come after. So they're ahead in research, and there are more studies now than in the last 10 years, but there is a limitation, which is that there is a major gap in research in adult ELT. So most of the studies have been focused on young learners from kindergarten to grade 12. And hopefully in the future, we will have more studies on adults. So far, is everything clear? No problems? Yeah? You can understand me? Perfect. Just needed to check. So let's go back to the Mentimeter, and I want you to think about what are the main areas of use, of AI use in ELT for speaking, writing, and listening. What do we use AI for with speaking, writing, and listening? Speaking, writing, and reading. If you want to talk to your partner, you can discuss which areas of speaking, writing, and reading do we use AI for. You can type it into the Mentimeter, and we'll see your ideas. A quick show of hands. Has anybody here ever used AI to help them with their lessons? Yeah? Beautiful. Nice, nice. You'll help me with the presentation later, okay? Definitely. Lesson organization and planning. Again, quick show of hands. Has anybody done a CELTA or a Trinity certificate? No? All right. We'll see some examples in a minute. Availability. Writing and reading, definitely. Even evaluating writing sometimes. You can put practice essays into the AI, give it a rubric. Maybe you want to grade it according to an IELTS rubric or a generic rubric, maybe the CEFR, and it will give you some. Quizzes, yeah. Translations, yes, definitely translations. We have some powerful translation tools at the moment, and we'll see some. Assessing writing, assessment, AI in assessment, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Creating tests as well, creating rubrics, solving problems, vocabulary, definitely we'll see some examples with vocabulary, in particular with reading. All right, so we have a good general idea here. Maybe let's take a few more seconds to see any extra ideas. Designing material, PowerPoints, audios as well, definitely. We're going to see some examples in a minute. Okay, good. So we'll come back to the Mentimeter in a few minutes, but these are the 5 key areas where AI is being used in English language teaching. So speaking, writing, reading, pedagogy, and self-regulation, and we're going to see some examples of what these are or how these are being used. The first one we'll look at is speaking, and there's one study in 2023 which showed that learners in Taiwan, after speaking, they were able to improve their pronunciation. Taiwanese intonation and pitch is quite different from English in the way that they use it. And what they found was that learners were able to speak more confidently and more accurately by reducing the flatness of the pitch and changing their intonation. The next was Alexa. A quick show of hands. Does anybody know who Alexa is or what Alexa is? Yeah, yeah. Maybe you have Alexa in your homes. Yeah. So it showed that people who talked to Alexa and had conversations, it helped to build their confidence and their speaking skills, and it supported their learning of vocabulary. And finally, AI has been used as a language coach for speaking. Students have asked it, oh, how do I improve my fluency? What can I do? Give me some tips, some practical ideas, and this has really helped with learners to improve their, to create a plan for them to make sure that they are on the right track in improving their speaking. Next, we'll have a look at writing. And so vocabulary was one of the biggest areas in writing, and we have lots of machine translation programs. So, of course, we have Google Translate, but we have more powerful tools like DeepL. I don't know if you've used DeepL before, connected to Lingui. DeepL can translate whole texts. Of course, it's never perfect. You always need a human to fix it, to tweak it, to put exactly what they want into it. And also the grammar checker Grammarly really helped with students' writing, to help them to write with a bigger variety of language, so a wider range, and also to become more accurate, so that we saw that less accurate or lower level students were able to write at a higher level with the use of the app Grammarly. And finally, so machine translation has also helped with writing not only paragraphs, but long text, and helped to become clearer, helps learners to become clearer in their ideas. So the next area is in reading, and so vocabulary skills improved a lot through practicing reading skills in WOW. Does anybody know what WOW is? Any gamers? So WW is World of Warcraft. So video games like this really help. Yeah, a fan of some video games. Yeah, nice. So some of these video games have what we call NPCs, or non-player characters. And you as the player, you go in and you interact with them, and you have to select how to respond. You can see here Mr. Marshall McBride saying, I think it's not clear to see, but he says, oh, another Alliance recruit. And the player coming in as a recently made soldier makes this could be very decontextualized, Alliance recruit, but it contextualizes decontextualized vocabulary, and it puts it into an area where the learner is familiar with, so they learn a bit more naturally. The next one was with pedagogy. So as you talked about, we made personalized learning approaches for Korean learners, preparing for the TOEIC exam. I think, is TOEIC popular in Peru? Maybe not so much, no? In Asia, it's very popular, and learners could generate their entire context by describing, okay, I'm here, this is where I am, I want to be at this level, I'm in Korea or I'm in Peru, and I want to be able to teach, or I want to be able to speak fluently. So it really helped learners to give the machines context for them to create specific study programs. It should be noted that conventional forms of pedagogy, so lectures, talks, are still very much in use, and we do want to see how AI can supplement these instead of replace them. We'll see why in a few minutes. And the last area is what we call self-regulation. So when we think about goal setting with chatbots, so chatbots would be similar to ChatGPT or Microsoft Bing Copilot. They are really useful for helping learners to set clear objectives and achievable objectives, and also giving them a description of how they can do so. The last thing it really helped was with reducing anxiety in young learners. So fifth grade fifth grade learners in Taiwan reported that they felt less nervous at the moment of speaking, thanks to the help that AI gave them, the tips, because they knew that if they spoke a certain way, they would definitely be understood. It helped to reduce their affective filter, that feeling of nerves, that feeling of uncertainty that inhibits language progress. It has really helped with those learners in that study. So we looked at the affordances or the benefits. Next, we'll have a look at the challenges. So the first thing is technology breaks down, as we saw this morning. Cici Rodrigo and I had a little breakdown here, and we were trying to fix it. That's why we started so late. So like everything else in this world, it's not perfect. Technology does break down, it malfunctions, there might be poor connectivity or different systems working together, and this is definitely a challenge, as we saw today. It does have limited capabilities, and we'll see some examples of this. Sometimes people have tried to use AI to help them with their planning or their preparation, and they find that the AI doesn't give them exactly what they want. This could be very discouraging for people to use AI, not only teachers. Fear. Fear is a big challenge. Some people don't know how the AI works, who's behind it, what's behind it. Does it have a soul? Are we in the Matrix? This fear could inhibit users from learning it, but also they're afraid of losing a natural context with human contact and real emotions connected to learning. The other thing is that they were not sure, it's fear of the unknown when they're not sure about how it's working, and this can impede people from using it. The last thing that they saw was standardizing languages. Sometimes we think about a standard language as something that's good and necessary. However, if the AI is only trained in one variety of a language, then it excludes other certain groups. If you only speak Quechua and you want to be able to get some of this information, then it might be difficult. Or other regional varieties, like I am from Trinidad and Tobago, we speak Creole. If I type in Creole to it, it may not really understand me the way I want it to. So nowadays, there's this move towards EDI, equality, diversity, and inclusion, and they have found that some of these language models are excluding other varieties of language. So these are the challenges. Now, we have to think about some of the implications for the practice. So in all of the studies, as we saw in the video from Dr. Helen Crompton, AI is being used mostly in ELT. So we need to train our teachers. Education and teacher training must focus on what we call AI literacy, similar to digital literacy. We have to think about how the models are chosen, as we mentioned. Standardizing or only using one variety of language could exclude other groups. Next, we have to think about whether these gains persist in the long term. So yes, learners feel more confident now, but is this going to be translated into their real life context when they start working and interacting with individuals from other areas? At the moment, there are not clear ethics statements. So how should AI be used? How must it be used? How mustn't it be used? There aren't clear laws and statements about how to do this, especially when connected to data. How is this data being gathered and how is it being used later on? There are not clear ethical statements for this. And finally, people who use AI should be realistic, and we're going to see some examples maybe in about 10 minutes. What can it do and what can't it do? And where do we as humans need to intervene and supplement it? We need to think about all these when thinking about the practice. So thinking about the future now, we do need some studies in a wider range of geographies. South America is waiting for you to start your research on AI, so please feel free to investigate and look at how you're using it in your own classroom. And also with adult learning. As we said, most of the studies were done with kindergartners through grade 12, and not much study has been done on adult education. The challenges, are not usually well reported as the benefits. So people say, yeah, I've been using AI to do this and it's helped me a lot and it's great, full stop. However, they don't go into, oh, well, I needed to change the input. Oh, well, it didn't understand me. It didn't give me exactly what I wanted. And these have not been focused on as much. Next, we have to look at focus on use for developing receptive skills. So we saw that there was some reading, but no studies really showed AI being used to help with listening skills. Think about how AI can create new opportunities for learning, how we can not only teach, but as teachers, we also have to inspire our students and inspire ourselves. So this is something we'll look at in about 15 minutes. And finally, we don't know the long-term impact of some specific tools on learning, basically because it hasn't been around long enough for us to understand. Conversations of AI have been happening since the 1950s. However, it's only been made public use over the last 5 years or so. And because of this, we don't know what will happen in 10 or 15 or 20 years, what the progress will be like, so we have to keep monitoring it. And finally, we have to look at applications of AI for assessment, testing, and evaluation. Some exams at the moment are totally created and run by AI, but some aren't. So for example, the IELTS is not run by AI. You need a physical personal examiner, a human, similar to the Cambridge Suite exams, where we have 2 speakers, 2 candidates, and 2 examiners. And they've actually found that AI does have limitations in assessment because where there are 2 speakers interacting together, the AI is not very good at evaluating each individual one. Another challenge that presented itself was that if the AI has only been inputted with one variety or one accent of a language, then maybe if someone is speaking in a different accent or with a different variety of English, it might not be able to precisely evaluate them. And the last thing is that some candidates in exam just prefer having a human in front of them. You can see facial reactions, you can see gestures. However, looking at a screen doesn't really give you these natural cues for interaction. So we do still need to think about AI for assessment in the future. So that was what the literature said. Now we'll have a look at what teachers say from around the world. So we did a global survey of more than 1,300 teachers in over 100 countries and territories. And as I said, we interviewed all kinds of people, not only teachers and students, but teacher trainers, representatives from the ministries of government, school owners, principals, and this is what they had to say. These are what AI-powered tools are being used for the most, and some of these you already put in the last Mentimeter poll. Language learning apps, language generation, and chatbots. Some people actually just don't use it at all, and that's fine for now. But at the bottom you can see also data and learning analytics, so this would be more from school organizers and administrators to find patterns in data and see how you can use them to improve their systems. The other thing that we had a look at was what teachers use AI tools for. So here again, exactly what you put in the previous poll, creating materials, helping their learners to practice English, creating lesson plans, and we'll see some examples of those. Also grading, assessing, you mentioned that in the poll, admin task. Okay, so let's have a look at your opinion. We're going to look at 3 different, let me see if I can get this to work here. Oh, there we go. Nice. So we're going to look at 3 questions. I want you to give me your opinion, and then we'll have a look at what teachers around the world said in our study. So what do you think? AI and automated translation will eventually make learning languages unnecessary. Agree, disagree, maybe you feel very strongly about it, or neutral, that's fine. Let's have a look at what you said, and then we'll see what teachers around the world said. So in the future, AI will mean that there's no need for language learning, and we might be out of jobs. What do you think? No, you don't think it will be unnecessary?
If someday it happens that learning language is unnecessary, I'm sure I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, some people say they won't be happy if it will make learning languages unnecessary. Personally, definitely. There is a feeling that we get when we interact in a second language. Your heart beats faster, you feel the chemicals pouring from your brain, especially when the other person interacts with you successfully. It's a buzz, it's a high, it's something that really, really helps us, maybe similar to doing art or playing music. Yeah, personal satisfaction, definitely. All right, nice. So we have a pretty overall idea here, nice. We have 2 more questions for this section. The next question is, by 2035, in about 10 years approximately, AI will be able to teach English without a teacher. What do you think? Not 2035, maybe 2135? After we're gone. I do think about the movie The Matrix a lot. When they're learning, they just plug you into a machine and they teach you everything you need. Sorry? You need so we need face-to-face connection, emotional connection. All right, we will see what teachers around the world said as well. Let's take about 10 or 15 more seconds to take some final opinions. And again, if you feel like you're not sure, you want to talk to the person next to you, no problem at all. So the next one is connected to the classroom application. How do you feel? Do you feel like you've received enough training to incorporate AI into your classes? I saw some people said that they've already been using AI in their classes. And have you received training also, or do you train yourself? Sorry? Okay.
Also preparing for myself, and I used some AI in my class, so it was really useful for students and also for us as a teacher, because we can improve some skills and their abilities of some students.
Okay, interesting. Even nowadays, some universities are making the move towards encouraging their students to use AI. In my classes, I encourage my students to use AI, and we'll see how. So for example, I'm studying a master's at Nile, which is an institute in England, and they tell us that if we want to do our research papers using AI, it's not a problem. The only requirement is transparency. So we have to show them how we used it, all the results that it got. And the main idea is that what we use AI for is a large information collector. So whereas in the past we might have to go to a library and search through hundreds or even thousands of pages of books before we find the information we need, the AI can do it just in a few seconds. However, can it analyze the data? Can it come to a conclusion? Can it use the data to create new things? This is where we as humans need to put our input. Tell us, you have a question here? Yeah?
For example, I'm afraid of the human touch. I mean, for example, in Japan or I think China, there was a research about how it affects to young learners, especially children. And somehow they themselves say that they feel there is like a big eye looking at them.
Ooh.
So perhaps we have to be careful the efficiency of something, but the effect in the human feeling. So when we learn, there is a human feeling too. But the problem is what kind of citizen we are going to teach.
We need feelings and emotions connected to our limbic system, our long-term memory, in order to learn and to have genuine natural learning. But you are true, yeah, they do feel that there's this eye on them.
Be careful with that.
Definitely. However, I do think that AI is here to stay, and rather than turn a blind eye or avoid it, it's better to get on the train and start from now, because maybe in 10 years, you don't want to just be starting. By then, it will have advanced so much. All right, nice. So I think actually, your polls, your opinions are very, very similar to the teachers we interviewed around the world. So the first one, AI and automated translation will eventually make learning languages unnecessary. Most people didn't agree. I think your bar graph looked very, very similar. Most people were neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. And we talked about the need for human interaction, the need for natural interaction, and the personal satisfaction that it brings. We will always have those as humans. The next part was by 2035, AI will be able to teach English without a teacher. Your graph was very similar. Most people didn't agree, maybe neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. And as we said, you need the facial gestures, the body movement, and this really helps young humans to feel more confident in what they are doing and what they are learning. And finally, have people received enough teaching? Maybe some of you have, but honestly, the majority of people around the world, and this study was done very recently. This research was presented in February of this year for the first time. So between February and now, I think things haven't really changed, and I think the teachers what did I do? I did something, yeah, okay, it's good, all right. Please. We need to, less artificial intelligence and more real intelligence. So yeah, hopefully we will change this in the future. And how we do this is by bringing the knowledge and the awareness to other teachers and teacher trainers. Some teachers just try to learn as much as they can by themselves or teach themselves, but we hope that this will not always be the case. Finally, looking at the studies, we'll look at what some key witnesses say, and then we'll get into the more practical things. So the key themes of the interviews showed that we need definitions, agreed definitions of what it is and how it must and mustn't be used. Bias, it's evident that AI needs addressing, so it works, but we can't explain how it works. You can see this comment here from the professor at the UK. So if we can't explain somehow how something works, it kind of becomes very, very difficult to question the results. We need to think about teacher readiness. Are teachers ready to use it? There is a gap in digital literacies, and now AI is progressing faster than research and education is progressing. So we have to try to think about if we can progress those two together. And we need to think about big tech and neoliberalism. We do need to have this AI connected more to other varieties or other groups, not just with big tech. And we need to think about context-sensitive AI. So teachers, parents, students, they are the first most directly impacted people by AI, and they should feel confident in learning how to use them. We had the question about replacing humans. So many people say that they don't believe that AI will replace human teachers soon, and probably it might never. But what it does do is replace the types of tasks that take the teacher away from the student. So we'll see some examples in a few minutes of how AI can help you to spend more time focusing on your students and even yourself, rather than creating materials and lesson plans. Motivation could be a barrier or an enabler, and we need to approach it with a positive mindset in order for it to be an enabler. We have to think about the relevance and ethics frameworks. We talked about this. How must it be used? What can't be done? What shouldn't be done with your data? Privacy data laws are very important, and always information is power. Depending on how this data is used, it could be ethical or unethical. And finally, we mentioned inclusion, equality, diversity, and inclusion. There will be more exclusion if AI only focuses on standard varieties of language. We do not want to have gaps in learning opportunities. The idea is that technology will bring everybody together. However, they need to have the access to it. And pedagogy and assessment we mentioned. So pedagogy can transform, but as we said, the AI is maybe advancing more rapidly than teacher research and education. So it might be held back by outdated learning theory. And finally, with assessment, we mentioned in some exams where the AI really can't give a precise assessment of a student's ability. So we do need more studies on these and more development. Cool. So before we go and look at the practical applications, I want you to take a minute, think, how can we use, if you have any examples, using AI in our ELT classes, thinking about chatbots such as ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, image and sound generators. Has anybody ever seen any of the image or sound generators where you input a text and then it gives you an image? Yeah. Some people maybe. We'll see a nice example of this. Take a minute, talk to the person next to you. How can we use AI for ELT in our classes? What do you think? When you feel like you have an idea, put it into the Mentimeter. Let's see what you think. How can we use those for our classroom application as teachers? This fly loves me. I don't know what happened. There's a fly. I think he loves me. So let's take a minute and you can put your ideas into the Menti and let's have a look at them together. Different applications for pronunciation and accents, yeah? Definitely. Of course.
I come from a national school, so in national schools we have a problem because in some rooms we have special children.
Special needs children.
Yes, and they use the cell phone, and so I hope that this kind of tool we can use it. But you know that I heard that some students can learn another language if their own language is not used well, and this is the case.
Definitely. I'll remember that. We'll talk about it. First language impediments, yeah? Oh, we have some ideas already. Okay, so flashcards, yeah, definitely, with images also. Very nice use for young learners especially. Case studies, enhancing pronunciation, improving the language, pronunciation, creating a partner, discourse organization. We had the comment of special education needs learners. So some learners have impediments in their first language. How will we expect to help them in their second language? We also need to think about how we can improve their first language or cater for anything that they cannot do in their first language and not expect them to do it in their second language. Definitely very relevant. Role-playing games, yeah, we'll see our role-playing activity in a minute. Nice chatbots using short text. All right, nice, nice. Cool. Let's have a look at some of the examples that I've used, not only myself, but other teachers at the British Council. So So we ask chatbots, OpenAI, ChatGPT, that's the name of the company, OpenAI, Microsoft Copilot or Bing Copilot, Gemini. I've only ever seen this word written, so I don't know how it's pronounced. That's how it is in English. You can't know the pronunciation from reading. It might be Poe or Poe. And finally, using text prompt for image and song generators. So the first thing is asking chatbots questions. So I wrote to ChatGPT, I said, hi, can you write me, I was planning this lesson in May around Mother's Day. Do you celebrate Mother's Day in May here? Yeah? Yeah. Nice, perfect. So I said, oh, can you write me a text about the history of Mother's Day for B1 to B2 EFL students? I should have put adults, but also and include useful vocabulary such as collocations and phrasal verbs. You can say I spelled phrasal verbs wrong. It wasn't a problem. ChatGPT knew exactly what I was trying to say. And sure, here's a simplified text about the history of Mother's Day with vocabulary suitable for B1 to B2 EFL students. So it gave me a text. I don't imagine you can see all of that, but in the past, when I was doing my CELTA, my certificate for English language teaching, sometimes I would try to make texts on my own and all the activities that followed with it. Sometimes to plan for 1 hour of teaching, I might have taken 8 or 9 or 10 hours to do an hour-long lesson. And now, after the reading comprehension, usually what follows are some comprehension questions. So I asked the AI, it gave me also the vocabulary, some useful vocabulary that was in the text, honor, appreciation, goddesses, tirelessly, and the definitions, as you can see here. Of course, you can put this into an activity like word wall. Is anybody familiar with word wall? Play some games with this as well, separate it. The idea is just to separate it and have the students put it together. So after that, I asked it, can you write me a true or false task with one question for each paragraph and like maybe in 5 seconds. We got some questions, the answers. After we do questions and answers, after the students have shown that they comprehend the text, then we might have a look at some language analysis. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, what are the phrasal verbs and the meanings in this text, instead of doing it myself? We have the phrasal verbs, definitions, and this is where I think, especially here, human intervention needs to take place. Some people might not agree that, for example, spread to is a phrasal verb, or come together. They might be looked at as dependent prepositions. So you do need a human to intervene and say, okay, I think this might be different. I might want to change this. I might want to include or exclude something. After the language analysis, and this is a typical, what we call a PPP plan. So we present, then we practice, and then we produce the language. So first with the reading text, we presented the language in a context. Then for the practice, we have controlled practice and freer production. So the controlled practice might look something very fixed like this, like a gap fill or a matching activity. This is what we call controlled practice. It made this for me in less than 5 seconds. And it created a role play for the students to do. They had some information here, divide the students into groups, how to carry out the role play, and then different scenarios that the students could choose to use or do. Maybe visiting their mother, how to make Mother's Day special for their mom on that day, or taking their mother out. And the idea is that they use the phrasal verbs and the vocabulary that they saw in the previous stages to support their production and their conversation in this task. So there you have it, like a class presentation practice production. It took me less than 5 minutes to get this. However, it's not perfect, and there are things that we might need to tweak. There are things that we might need to change for our learners depending on their region. There are things that we definitely need to change for our learners depending on their individual ability, their individual interests. Are there learners in your class who don't live with their mom? Are there learners in your class maybe whose moms have passed away? You have to think about this as well. And thinking about this actively, you could ask the AI to help you with it, and that's fine. But the idea is not just to take what it gives you wholesale and then go into a class and expect it to work. That would be a limitation of it. So the next area we'll look at is using text prompt AI for image and song generators. Now, you can type in a description of an image, and the AI will basically give you the image. The one I used is, I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but openart.ai, it's the same company that made ChatGPT. And Udio, we'll have a look at Udio and how it can be used to make songs. Yeah, please feel free to take a picture if you need it. I believe we're going to, are we going to share this presentation? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, please, don't worry. No worries. So this was a task I did with my students. I asked them, write a text about your dream home. Have you ever asked your students to write about their dream home? Maybe using some vocabulary about the different rooms, the location, the climate, the facilities or the amenities, and include those details because we saw some vocabulary connected to describing dream homes. And this is what one student wrote. My dream house by the sea would be a stunning mansion, maybe on La Costa Verde, with panoramic views of the ocean. It would feature a private dock where I could park my yacht and sailboat. The house would have large windows overlooking the sea, a spacious deck for outdoor living, and a cozy cinema room. There'd be a spacious swimming pool and a jacuzzi, luxury bedrooms, a gourmet kitchen, and elegant living spaces. So many times we'd give our students this writing and say, yes, this is good, this is correct, good, finished. But we can use the AI to help bring it to life. So I got my students to put their texts into the image generator, and this is what it came up with. So again, using AI not just to replace us, but to inspire our students, you know. They can get to see their imagination brought to life. Maybe similar to the Costa Verde. Some other examples of AI text-to-image, not only OpenAI, but we have DALL-E, Midjourney, Dream Studio. Yeah, have you used DALL-E? I see some people nodding. Yeah, almost all of these are free. And the reason I use the inverted commas is that there is the belief that if you're not paying for the product, then maybe you are the product. So you have to give it your data. Basically, it's 2 clicks, sign in with Gmail, click, good, I'm in. But it takes your location, it takes your data that you make you make public, and then it uses it for we don't know what. And this is why we need these clear ethical frameworks to decide how our data is being used. I didn't care, I just used it for now. I think we're all connected in some way. So this is another tool that we can use, which is song generators. So in the website Udio, which I'm sorry, you can't see that very clearly, I got my students to write a description of a song. Now, can you read this and see which artist it might sound like? A country song with female vocals singing about heartbreak. She's been through many breakups. She hasn't been able to sort out her love life. Does it sound like anybody, any singers you know?
Taylor Swift.
My students love Taylor Swift, all, the boys, the girls, the young learners, no? So at the moment, in Udio and other similar song generators, you can't put in an artist's name. If you put in an artist's name, it will just say, no, the copyright laws don't allow you. But you can write a description, and you can see here, she has been through many breakups. She hasn't been able to sort out her love life. She's been suffering. I asked them to use examples of the present perfect in order to put their input. And they're still practicing language based in a context, but now it's going to be brought to life. So we put this description into a song generator, into Udio, and it gave us 2 songs. The first one is Scars on My Heart, very poetic. So the AI came up with the lyrics, came up with the audio, came up with the vocals, the music, the melody, everything. Everything was created by the AI just based on the description I showed you.
Somewhere close to heartache, I sit alone with the setting sun, counting scars of the battles I ain't won, with memories heavy on my weary soul, here where heart breaks unending toll. For each goodbye, the tears just start no.
So, yeah, everything was made by the computer. Yeah. Does it sound like Taylor Swift? Or maybe Shania Twain or an older country singer. But this is what you can do, and it doesn't stop here. It's not just like put it in and see what comes out. You can then take this and use it for activities. Okay, let's listen and see which one sounds the most like Taylor Swift, and we have to vote. Or can you write an extra verse for the song with the same rhyme structure, with the same melody? And this is what we need. We need not just to use the AI to replace us, but to inspire us and our students. So don't just stop at what it gives you, but put your own teacher flair, your own personal touch according to what your students are interested in. Yeah, question?
If I have, for example, a melody and I don't know how to write, for example, the melody on... Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
If I have a melody, I create a melody, for example, and I don't know how to write the melody on those scripts, in music, to write it on music.
You can describe
possible?
it.
Yeah, is it possible I put the music and intelligent, this
You
robot?
can put
Yes.
examples of audios
uh-huh.
and have it copy. Yeah,
Yes, it's
even
possible.
I think it's not even necessary, because when you write the description on audio, they ask you, do you want it to be rock, techno, country, pop, or a mix of these things? You can ask it to write in the scale of Fa major if you want.
Oh yeah, but for example, I have a nephew, and he's a musician, I think so, because he created a beautiful melody,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know how to write this on the script.
You can input audio, and even for the image generators, you can input images and ask them to use this and combine it to create a new image.
Wow, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
we're living in the future. So this is a nice example of what you can do, all right? Let's have a look here, hopefully.
I wanted to ask a question.
Tell me.
So sorry, is it similar to Suno?
To Sudo?
Suno is the AI.
I've not heard of that one. How do you write it?
Suno, S-U-N-O.
S-U-N-O. Maybe we can have a look at the end of the presentation.
Similar.
Maybe we can have a look and see how it looks at the end. I'm not sure. I've not heard of that one. Honestly, every month there's new AI programs. I don't know everything. I don't know what's always new, but definitely I'm always constantly learning. But we can have a look at the end if we have some time. Definitely, I would like to. And I'll show you how the interface works as well. So here, coming up to the last part of the presentation, here's a video that was generated by AI. It was done with some students, some secondary school students in Wales. And so we used audio, images, and now you'll see videos generated by AI.
I really enjoy learning languages. I feel like it connects you to the country more and you get to understand the people a bit better.
If you could speak any other language, what might that be?
I think Spanish would definitely be useful.
I kind of want to learn Italian because I feel like that's kind of cool.
I'd quite like to learn a bit of Portuguese.
Mandarin Chinese because it's the most spoken language in the world.
I'd love to speak more Spanish. I'd like to learn as many languages as possible, really.
What are you currently studying?
All my subjects?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, 好的。所以我有英语、数学、物理、生物、
Dopo la scuola penso di voler essere un insegnante. That's really cool. Francese o inglese.
Sé que será útil tener un idioma extra al trabajar en diferentes países. Quiero hacer algo relacionado con el deporte.
Me encantaría volver a Sudamérica. Si viajamos por el mundo un año, Chile, Argentina, Ecuador.
Gostaria de seguir a ciência.
Oh my god.
Biologia, química, matemática.
Specialmente in Francia. And it's just like I'm saying it. Si parte della loro comunità.
Creo que si pudiera hacer cosas en España, México y Sudamérica por la gran escena futbolística allá.
Tenho amigos e família franceses. Minha irmã e mãe falam francês.
That's crazy.
Posso conversar com eles.
So AI did this.
Yeah, all the videos on the left side were just computer generated. So the last question in the poll is, before we look at the end of the video, what do you think the students' opinions will be after they see the AI-generated videos of themselves speaking in a different language, using their own voice, their face, their lips, but fluent? I think the Spanish was fluent, the pretty good accents as well. Do you think they will be more motivated? They will not see the need for learning foreign languages? Or if you're not sure, that's fine. You can put that. What do you think? Are you more motivated now to learn more languages? Nice, yes. Overwhelmingly more motivated people are thinking. But it's amazing what it can do. And again, how we use it is the most important thing. Are we using it to not work, not think, or are we using it to inspire and help us create new things? And that's where the focus should be. Yeah, good. We're all on the same page. You can see here, it inspired them to continue learning more languages.
Tenho amigos e família franceses. Minha irmã e mãe falam francês.
That's crazy.
Posso conversar com eles.
So AI did this. That's pretty cool.
It sounded very natural.
It was a bit weird, yeah. It'd be fun to be able to speak languages fluently like that.
It opens my eyes to like what it could be like.
I think that looked really accurate. It looked like I was speaking it fluently, like it was my first language. It makes me feel like I can do that.
Well, yeah, I think it'll be helpful, but that doesn't mean people should stop trying to learn a language. Face-to-face connection will always be more important than using AI.
Even though AI copies your voice very well, it's not the same, and it's definitely an important skill for confidence.
I think it's still important to be able to learn a language. And you still need to be able to speak to people to be able to properly connect with them.
Cool. So, in conclusion, we have very specific research, informative data. We need to think about teacher preparation, and we need to think about the future. Again, it's not here to replace us, but to inspire us and help us to create, support us, supplement our abilities, not to take us away. We need to think about a common set of definitions, what it is and how it must be used, ethical use, and think of tasks that teachers can use. Where AI can and cannot be used, there needs to be clear studies into this so that we can support our teachers. So in the last part of the presentation, maybe we talked about we had some questions, or actually I'm going to come back to the question and answer. I just want to have a look here. And its publication. I worked together with Graham Stanley from the British Council in Mexico to help to give me some ideas. And for Nile is the institute where I'm doing my master's, and they support us with using AI and support us with giving us guidance on how to do it and be transparent about it. So actually, you can do some courses with Nile at the British Council. When we share this, this presentation, you can go here and see all the different courses that Nile is doing in partnership. If you can go to Bogota and do the courses, that would be amazing. But also, there is the option of doing them online if they have enough demand. So please feel free to have a look at that website when you get the document. Okay. So questions. I did want to address the first question that you asked about. Yeah. Do we have some time for questions and answers? Yeah.
Yeah. A few minutes.
Suno. Now, we did have some issues here, but I think, oof, there we go. Nice. So you said the one is Suno? S-U-D-O? S-U-N-O. Cool. Jesus, I haven't even heard of this one. Okay, yeah. So you can basically just write the description here. You can create, let's have a look at create. I'm sure there's the option to, so I'm just going to do it. I'm sure this is going to be very easy if I just click here, take my data, this is good. You can see how easy it is to use. Nice, I'm in, woohoo. You know? One moment, let me finish having a look at this one, and then we can get to it. So in your create, you can get ideas, persons, special occasions. So this is how it usually works. You usually get credits, and so you might have 2 credits per song. What you can do to help with this is you can make as many Gmail accounts as you want. Jesse Dialal 1 at Gmail, Jesse Dialal 2 at Gmail, and then you can, there's a way around all the limitations, yeah? Moods, activity, greeting, and they even have a library for you to look at. Okay, nice. So you can choose vacation, scrapbooking, different contexts. This one is a little bit different from, well, maybe even similar to Udio, which is, this is the one I'm more familiar with, so I can just I can show you what it looks like better. So when you go into Udio and you create, so you can write the description. So here you can say, okay, I want it to sound like electronic, funk, and rock all in one. You can write the description. You can put in your lyrics, and it will create the audios. You can have the lyrics auto-generated, and I think there's advanced features. There's an option to import an audio, prompt strengths, clarity. Yeah. So you can. I'm not seeing the option to input the audio at the moment, but yeah, you can get the quality, the strength, where it starts, the different types of lyrics. If you want it to be only instrumental, it can be only instrumental as well. But yeah. And then you just click create. It takes like maybe 5 minutes to create 30 seconds of music, and you can get a nice song for your students. Tell me, you had a question.
Yeah, I am worried about future and the future, the jobs in the future.
Jobs in the future.
Yeah, because
nice.
Here in Peru, for example, we have some universities and they offer some careers. Okay, but I don't know what will happen now with this kind of artificial intelligence.
Nobody knows. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be like in 5 years. And I think we have to embrace the fact that we don't know and take charge of it and become a part of it in order to put our own influence into it and direct it in the way that we want it, as not only as teachers and educators, but as humans, as people.
Or perhaps universities, for example, they can offer some kind of careers related to this kind of
Definitely,
things.
definitely. at least a course in education about integrating, because at the moment we have courses where they talk about integrating technology into testing or into teaching or into lesson planning. So this will definitely be necessary in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have the answer, obviously.
Yeah, no, the answer is I don't know. And
Yeah.
sometimes...
That's nice of you, because, for example, now I start thinking that why I feel so good with you, because you are a human. So, for example, there was a kind of fly now around you, and I think, oh my God, he's a human. He's not a robot. It's fortunate. That's why I like your presentation.
Thank you
very
so much. Cheers. All right, Sisi, I don't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to ask.
Any other question? Yes, one more. We have time for like one more.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. I learned a lot. My question is, when it comes to assessment, and especially for production in writing, if we ask our students to, let's say, write a short text about something, they use AI for writing text. So how can we face this issue?
Yeah, beautiful. We have AI checkers. So you can copy the text into an AI checker, and it can tell you how much % was done by a machine. Oh, you got the fly. Yes, woohoo. Good. Humans, we need to stick together, yeah? This is definitely important. I give the students a writing task, and it comes back, I know the student is B1, and I get a C1 writing in front of me, and it's perfect. So I did two things. One, I ran it through an AI checker because I didn't want it to sound like I was accusing the student of anything. And the AI checker showed it was 100% written by AI. So I responded to the student and said, look, I ran it through the checker. It said it was 100% generated by a computer. In reality, the reason you are taking this course is for me to be able to help you. And if you want me to be able to help you, if you give me something that's created by a machine, I can't help you. And then it just takes away the need for the course. What I would recommend is that maybe you get the writing from the AI checker, have a look, learn the new vocabulary, and then try to redo the writing on your own, making the mistakes, identifying them, and working actively, and then I can help you. So we need to think about what our students want. Sometimes what they need is help, and they look to the AI for help, but they might replace their own work, and that's not what we're trying to do. And if they do that, then basically the only person that's suffering is them. And if you make this clear to them, usually the response from the student was that, well, who knows if it's true, but she said, no, I use the AI to help me, and then I write my own ideas, and then she gave me one that she did. So I think that we need to not be scared of mentioning that, hey, I think according to the AI checker, and maybe we can have a look here.
How do you write that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, nowadays, you just type it in, and let me see. It might have 0 GPT. There you go. So it might be in my history, actually. So here, you could copy and paste the text into here, or you can upload the file, and it will tell you. Obviously, it's not perfect, but if you see something like 100% machine generated, there, it's probably not done by a human, yeah? What I believe we're aiming to do is probably try to get something that's 50-50, because it shows like 60% computer generated and 40% human generated, or it shows like the percentage. So if we can get something in the middle, usually that's what I try to aim for. Yeah, nice, perfect. In which context? So I guess we need to consider the context of the student. So for example, if the student is going to take the IELTS exam and they're using the AI, but then when they go into the exam, they don't have it, we need to make it clear to them and say, if you're using only AI to write and not putting anything in your own, you probably won't get the score that you need. And then we can't change them. They have to change themselves. And I think making them more aware is the only way for them to change their mentality. I won't forget you. However, if it's a context like I'm studying my master's and we are allowed to use AI and we have to be transparent, then we have to make that clear to the students as well. So I think for now, transparency and being very honest is the best way to be ethical, depending on the context of each student.